I'm a music producer by trade, and one of the most common questions that I'm getting from clients over and over again is, what is the difference between a producer, a mixing engineer, a mastering engineer? All these terms kind of sound the same. And so I wanted to do a video really quick to just explain the differences between all these and which ones you should be looking for depending on what you need for your song. A thing to keep in mind is, while these are all different jobs, there are people who are talented at more than one of them. In fact, it's pretty normal for someone to be talented at more than one of them. But for the most part, each one of these professions is its own job, and there's probably somebody who specializes in that specific job. The first one is a songwriter, which this is the easiest to understand. This is somebody who composes music. If you are asking to hire someone as a songwriter, you are asking them to write a song for you. That's pretty understandable. You're asking them to come up with chords, lyrics, melodies, those kind of compositional elements. All of this is somewhat similar, but inherently different to what a producer is. A producer is somebody who takes a song and produces it. They will take the elements that the songwriter has made and they will give them a certain aesthetic. This is where a song goes from a song idea to more of a track that people listen to. The producer is the person who will take that R&B chord progression that you wrote on a piano, and they will make it sound like that stabby synth sound from that one Khalid song. Or they'll take this song that you've made and they'll embed it with 80s drums to give it that sort of aesthetic. Depending on the genre and the song, a track can be very highly produced or very low produced. Some producers in Nashville just say, okay, this acoustic guitar with this vocal and these harmonies and this bass, and we're good. This process, though, does require really close collaboration with the artist. The producer is normally a songwriter, and in order to get the artist the vision that they want for their song, there needs to be a lot of collaboration and communication. While most producers are songwriters in some capacity, when you are hiring a producer, you're not really hiring them to write your song per se, unless that's part of the agreement that you have. You're really asking them to trim the fat off of the song idea that you already have. Take the good parts and make them better, and cut off the parts that don't really need to be there. It's just kind of a more steroided version of the original idea, bringing it to the full fruition of what that artist wants it to be beyond just piano or just guitar. It fleshes it out. When the producer is producing your song, he will be turning it into a bunch of individual tracks. So a drum track, a bass track, a synth track, a guitar track, multiple guitar tracks, etc., depending on what your song is. Once the artist and the producer are good with those tracks and they've recorded vocals and everything is done, then they send those off to a mixing engineer. A mixer or a mixing engineer is somebody who takes those individual tracks that the producer has made and makes each one sound super clean, super professional. They'll EQ it, they'll compress it, they'll just make the overall sound of each individual track as good as it possibly can. Their overall goal is to make all of these individual tracks that the producer has made gel together even more so that it sounds very cohesive and like one thing. When you work with a mixing engineer, you are going to be getting your song as a stereo wave file. This is your mixed song. You then take this mix and you give it to a mastering engineer. A mastering engineer is very similar to a mixing engineer, but instead of going into each individual track, they just make this one track sound as good as it possibly can. He's not going to be adjusting things like volumes of instruments or EQing individual instruments. He's going to be doing broad stroke stuff like, how is the low end of this entire song as a whole? Is this song sparkly enough? This is normally the part of the process that people skip the most, but it's such a shame because this is where like most of the magic and the sparkle that you hear in songs comes from. When you've hired a mastering engineer, what you are going to be getting is the final version of your song. This is the thing that you will end up putting on distribution. And like I said, there are so many people who do more than one of these jobs. Most producers are songwriters. Most mixing engineers have some kind of side mastering option. And eventually I'm going to be doing a video on how you find ones that are right for you. If you like this video, please leave a like down below so that I can see which kinds of videos you guys like to see. If you have any questions, music production or music business, please leave them in the comments below. I'd love to do a video on it. I post one of these videos every Tuesday, so if you enjoy this kind of content, please hit subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you get notifications every time I make a video. Hope you have a great day. Now go make something cool.